Hi, welcome to Home Video Hangouts. Today I'm going to be discussing Dune Part 2. This is the highly anticipated follow-up to Dune Part 1 that released in 2021, as well as a follow-up to the original film that came out many years before. So this is a long-awaited sequel that we've been waiting for over 2 years due to various delays and strikes and things like that. And this is probably one of the bigger releases that we're going to see this year. And I wanted to kind of share with you my thoughts after seeing it in the theater in terms of what I liked, what I think could have been better, and then make sure you stick around until the end of the video because I'm going to share with you what I've heard is happening for Dune Part 3 and what we can expect from the follow-up to this movie. Alright, so starting with what I enjoyed about this movie. So this film follows up to the 2021 Dune movie with the same primary two main characters, which are Paul and Chani, and it picks up kind of right where it left off. And what I liked about both of these movies is how it develops its own unique, larger-than-life sci-fi universe with lots of awesome world building and special effects and everything like that. But it also has some similarities to other great sci-fi movies. For example, we see a lot of similarities in this movie to the Mad Max series. There's certain precious resources in the desert in this movie, especially water, and we kind of see early on in this movie how all the characters come to get the water they need, and also there's a lot of talk about the kind of commodity and drug in this movie, spice. So a lot of that carries over from the last movie from 2021, but I think it's great how they kind of tied in some of the same sci-fi elements as we saw in movies like Mad Max. Some other things I really enjoyed about this movie specifically, though, is how they took what worked in the original film in 2021 and added on to it. One of the things I thought the 2021 Dune movie needed was more intense action sequences to kind of split up all of the character development and world building that was going on, and they delivered on that here. There's some really awesome action sequences in the sequel here, and that was my favorite part of this movie. Without giving too many spoilers or anything away, some of the large worm creatures we saw from the original movie are back, as well as some of the villains and different groups, and there's some great action and fight sequences in this film that I think you'll really enjoy if you decide to see it. In addition to that, they really did a great job with the costumes and the makeup for this movie. I can tell a lot of time and effort and money went into the character designs and the makeup and costumes that they used. One that really stood out to me above all else in this movie was Austin Butler's transformation. If you look above me here, I'll post his picture as well as what he looks like in this movie, and it's an incredible transformation. It reminds me a lot of what we saw with the modern It movies, of creating Pennywise and all the makeup that went into that. And so I thought he was one of the coolest characters in this movie just from how they transformed him into this awesome kind of villain character with all the makeup. Now, in addition to that, the special effects are phenomenal here. We see, crazy explosions. We see gunfighting. We see large battle sequences with thousands of people. All of it makes this movie so much larger than life, and that's something awesome to see. Now, in addition to that, there's an incredible soundtrack here. I know that Hans Zimmer was part of making this movie, and we hear a lot of his incredible music here too, and everything from kind of the drama sequences, the large fight sequences, and even the end credits. There's some really incredible sound here. When I was in the theater, I could even feel the bass kind of reverberating through the theater, which I don't always notice in a lot of movies I see recently in the theater. And so I think I really love the soundtrack, and it's another thing that makes me hope that this gets a really good 4K release when it comes out with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos to really take advantage of the awesome soundtrack that's here and some of the awesome visuals that are here, because it would really do this movie justice. Now, lastly, I just wanted to comment on the attention to detail as one of the things I really enjoyed here. There's a lot of attention to detail in everything from the structures in the movie, the characters' costumes and how they look, the sound and the fight scenes. Every little detail was looked after, And I think they did a great job in kind of matching what was in the storyline of the novel series as well, and just following up with everything we came to expect after seeing the 2021 movie. All right, now I'd like to share some of the things I think could have been improved from this movie. First of all, this is a very long movie. It is like 2 hours and 45 minutes, I believe, and that's a pretty long movie, but I know that this has a lot of source material from the novels going into it, and so it makes sense this needed to be a very long movie. However, I think they could have shortened it and edited out just a couple things. But honestly, I can't really say anything too bad about the length of the film based on how much they put into it and how much they built the story up and all the different people groups in this movie. And so I could see why it was as long as it was, and I do think it's great they kept it under 3 hours at least. Now, another thing I think could have been improved slightly here is a few more links to the first movie would have been great, or a little bit more foreshadowing of what's coming next in Dune Part 3. And they did a little bit of this. Towards the end of the movie, we get a couple hints towards what could be in Dune Part 3, and earlier on, we see a little bit of like a reminder from what was in the original Dune movie from 2021. But I think they could have added a little bit more because of how long it's been since the 2021 movie. I think they could have put in a few more reminders of kind of the lore and the elements into it. But it wasn't bad. All right, now lastly, as promised, I wanted to cover what you can expect from Dune Part 3, like whether we're getting a Dune Part 3, and if so, what to expect from it. And what I've heard already is that Dune Part 2 is already doing great in the box office from some pre-screenings that were out there, and just from its first opening day, it's already a very successful movie. And I know that the director already has most of the script done for Dune Part 3, so it's very possible we're going to see a Part 3 for Dune. But also, we need to make sure that it is well supported in the box office going forward, especially with the opening weekend before that will get announced, and we know for sure that it's coming. I think it's very likely, but that's another reason to go out and support this movie, is so we can see Part 3 knowing that they already have material for another sequel for this movie. I will say, again, without giving away spoilers, there is a scene towards the end of Dune Part 2 that hints towards a Dune Part 3. There are no post-credit scenes, but there is a scene at the end that hints towards one of the characters having potentially a larger role, or maybe even a revenge type role in Dune Part 3. So I think they are very much leaving it open or setting it up for a Dune Part 3. And so with that in mind, I highly encourage you to go out and see Dune Part 2, especially if you enjoyed the 2021 Dune movie. And make sure you let me know in the comments below if you're planning on seeing this movie or what your thoughts are on this kind of universe they've set up. And make sure you subscribe to see my future movie reviews. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.